this is quite intolerable, you know. Only one glass of absinthe. Oh, I am sorry. I don't know what came over me. I do believe one's temper, like Mr. Whistler's paintings, should never be displayed in public. Actually, I have very few complaints. For the most part, I hold wondrous treasure of a rich, rewarding life. And one of the moments I treasure most happened when I was a schoolboy. It is a moment that had a profound effect upon me. I was young, eager, and the life of books had begun to appeal to me more than real life, novels and poetry. Knowledge came to me through pleasure, as it should. 9 out of 10 of my school chums thought of only football and cricket and rowing. Healthy young barbarians, we were nothing more. We chose our friends, if not wisely, by instinct. And my last year at Portora, there was a boy 2 years younger than I, and we were great friends. We had long walks together and long talks together, and I talked interminably about what I should have done had I been Alexander, or how I would have played king in Athens had I been Alcibiades. My friend had a wonderful gift for listening, but I was so occupied with talking and telling him about myself that I knew very little about him. Curiously little, now that I come to think of it. And then the last incident of my school life made me think that he was sort of a mute poet, and that there was much more to him than I had imagined. It was just after I had won an exhibition and was on my way to Trinity College. I hurried to tell my friend the wonderful news, but to my surprise, he seemed cold and a little bitter. "You seem glad to go," he said. "Oh, but of course," I replied. "Just imagine going off to Trinity College, Dublin. I'm wild with delight. It's the first step to Oxford and to fame." Well, still in the same cold way, he said, "I mean leaving here, leaving us, leaving me." "Oh, of course not, you silly fellow," I replied. "I shall always be glad to be with you. And who knows, perhaps you'll be coming to Trinity College too one day." "No," he said, "I'm afraid not. But I will come to Dublin." "Well, then you must come to see me." Well, he looked at me with sad, regretful eyes. But the future was beckoning to me, and I couldn't help talking about it. The golden key to Wonderland was in my hand, and I was wild with hopes and desires. Well, that morning, as I was about to leave for the railway station, having said goodbye to everybody, my friend came up to me and said, "I'm coming with you to the station, Oscar." The headmaster gave me permission when I told him what great friends we'd been. "Oh, I am glad," I said, "that my last hours at school will always be associated with you." Well, he looked at me, and we left for the station. When I was settled in my train, he didn't go and say goodbye and leave me to my dreams, but brought me papers and things and hung about. "You will write to me, Oscar, won't you, and tell me everything?" "Oh, but of course," I replied, "once I get settled down. But there will be so much to do at first, and I'm so anxious to see everything. I wonder how the professors will treat me." And I rambled merrily on when suddenly the whistle sounded, and after a moment, the train began to move. "You must go," I said. "Yes," he replied in a strange, muffled voice, while standing with his hand on the door of the carriage. And then suddenly he turned to me and cried, "Oh, Oscar." And before I knew what he was doing, he had caught my face in his hands and kissed me on the lips. And the next second he had slipped out of the door and was gone. I sat there all shaken, and then I became aware of the cold drops trickling down my face. His tears. They affected me very strangely. As I wiped them away, I said to myself in amazement, "This is love. This is what he meant. Love." And I trembled, and I sat there for the longest time, all shaken with wonder and remorse. Ladies and gentlemen, I would be less than candid with you if I did not confess that I simply must have another glass of absinthe. So if you will be kind enough to excuse me for just a few moments, I shan't be long. Oh, and please, if there is any demonstration in front of the hall, just ignore it, for they know not what they do.